Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of SwingBadder. That's right, I'm with my dad and I'm with my brother Todd, and we are here to give you another wonderful, beautiful, great contract. Who do we got in store today? I'm so excited, Dad. You got so many good ones. What do we got now?
Well, this is, again, one of my favorites. Jason Bay.
Yes.
Jason Bay he's not a Hall of Famer, but he was a good ball player for the Pirates, and he became a free agent and put himself out there, and the Mets won the bidding.
Congratulations, Mets. So why don't you give us some background into why Jason Bay deserved and earned this contract?
Well, Jason Bay was a really good player for the Pirates. I'm not saying he was a Hall of Fame player, but he was really good. Over the 5 years, he usually played between 150 and 160 games. In home runs, he had 21 was his low year, 35 a high year. Twice in the 5 years, he drove over 100 runs. His batting average was usually between 280 and 300. He would complement an outfield for sure.
He was a fantasy god.
Yeah.
He was on my fantasy team. He was a god. He was awesome. I got stolen bases out of him. I got average. I got home runs. I loved this guy. I loved me some Jason Bay.
The best part about what you're saying about Jason Bay in fantasy is he didn't cost you an arm and a leg. You didn't have to get him early. He was a solid later round pickup who filled all the stats. To your point, fantastic.
Now, it seems like the Pirates had a sense that this guy was going to be too expensive. I do not know that for sure. But in 2008, they traded him to the Red Sox. 3-team deal. Between the Pirates and the Red Sox, in 2008, he had 31 home runs, 101 RBIs. And then in 2009 with the Red Sox, he had the best power year of his career. He had 36 home runs with 119 RBIs. So with those 2 years behind him, he entered free agency expecting that he'd be well paid, and he was. The Mets won the bid. They signed him to a 4-year, $66 million contract.
That's right.
Good deal. That's a really good deal.
It's a fantastic deal. They had an option for a buyout in 2014 for $3 million. And that option, that was guaranteed if he appeared at the plate 600 times. And he had a full no-trade clause. Locked in. Mets couldn't trade him. He wanted to be in New York and stay in New York.
Well,
great deal. It's a great deal. You're getting a masher. You're getting a banger for what? $66 million? Possibly $80 million? How could this possibly go wrong? What happened the year before to the Wilpons who owned the team? Their investment advisor, Bernie Madoff, was arrested. Well, this is a great way to distract from the fact that we don't have any money. We'll throw money at Jason Bay. This guy hit 36 home runs. Forget the fact that his average went down to 267. This guy's a bona fide winner. And so what do? They take it and they throw dollars at this guy. Why? Because Omar Minaya is the GM, and he'd been so successful with the likes of Carlos Delgado, Pedro Martinez, Carlos Beltran. Wait a second. Jason Bay doesn't speak Spanish. So what happens to this contract?
Well, the first year he ran into a wall. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I kind of like the fact that a guy will sacrifice his body for the team to win. But
you're paying him for
our audience, he literally ran into a wall. Not that he ran into a wall in his talent. He ran into a wall.
But a lot of good guys run into a wall when they're playing hard.
Okay.
Blame the guy for being a baller.
But before he got hurt, he ended up only playing 95 games because his injury. But in the 95 games, he was not playing well. His batting average was 259. You remember those 36 home runs with the Red Sox? With the Mets? It was 6. He had 6 home runs and 47 RBIs. before he checked out for the year. He did play 95 games, so it's not like he only played in 10 games, but in the 95 games, his numbers were really poor.
So he's trying to make it up on defense by running into the wall or playing extra.
So
into his chair.
It's
really bad.
So he has some time to rest. Second season, Jason Bay is going to come back, right? And he had a couple of injuries. He only played in 123 games.
Uptick.
He hit the outfield wall again in 2012.
This would be the most games he played in a season for the Mets during his contract. Offensive numbers, suddenly he couldn't even hit 250. He was batting 245, 12 home runs, 57 RBIs. Do you know what happens when you have 2 years like that in New York? The fans are not happy. This was the guy that was going to bring it home.
We're normally such a patient fan.
New York is not a place for fans to be unhappy. So it was difficult. Third year, 70 games, 165 batting average, 8 home runs, and a whopping 20 RBIs. After 3 seasons, Bay only hit a total of 26 home runs and 124 RBIs. And after 3 years, the Mets terminated his contract after 3 of 4 seasons.
This is
So the 4th and 5th season never happened.
Brutal.
They could have been the best, but they let him go.
Yeah. I'm not sure, Todd. Can you verify this? I don't think Jason Bay ever played again.
He did not.
You can't run into the outfield wall and have 2 concussions and think that life's just going to go on normally.
He had $66 million, which is usually enough to take care of the fam for the rest of your life. So he was okay.
Well, if you write Bobby Bonilla, you could probably set something up with that.
The tragedy of this contract is not that he was undeserving. Again, all of these players, in my opinion, a lot of them are deserving.
Yeah.
Was there a sign before the signing of the downward trend? So I give you this argument. He's playing for Boston. He's hits it over the Green Monster. He gets to have some pop-ups turn to home runs, justifying the 35 or the biggest home runs that he had that year, a lot of RBIs, but his batting average goes down. So now he's trying to hit the ball up and out. Then he signs with the Mets, different outfield, doesn't have the same pop, if you will, that he used to, and the outfield wall doesn't help at all. But his batting average that was depleting the year before just continues to deplete. Him running into the wall does not help. Injuries, trying to be that outfielder that does it all, justifying the contracts. We have many of those for you to enjoy your listening. Players who try to do too much in the field because they're not making the cut at the plate. And that's what you see. And then injuries happen, and then it gets worse. And then you feel like you can never recover. And all that ensues is, here's some money, have yourself a good life.
It was kind of sad at the time, actually, like all joking aside with him, because I really wanted him to succeed and I liked him. And it just never seemed like he hit a rhythm. It always seemed like he was, Brendan, to your point, that he was pushing, that he just couldn't get into a rhythm where he felt good about being at the plate in New York. It just never, and so when he hit the wall at Dodger Stadium, it was kind of like one of those things where maybe he was just trying too hard to make that happen. And it just, I don't know. But like Brendan, to your point in the batting average, when the batting average, he peaked his batting average in 2005 at 306, 2006, 286, which isn't that much of a difference, but then dropped to 247 in 2007. And then was 286 in 2008 and 267. It just seemed like he was never getting back up to that 286, 306. And Like, this was before a time when 215 was an acceptable batting average in Major League Baseball. Like, at this time, if you weren't batting 300, 280, like, something was wrong. And it looked like something was wrong. It seemed like he was pushing.
The other thing that I like to congratulate the player on, he was presented with this contract from his agent. You're not going to walk away from this money or say, really, it should be a 4-year, $30 million deal. I'm really that kind of player. So then he comes in, you do a press conference. People want to know what the big signing is. Nobody equates. This is the other big fun about baseball. Everyone equates all of the money with the first year. They never say, hey, this is a 12-year, 10-year deal. They only read, you got $300 million, you got $66 million. So the very first year, every journalist, every fan is trying to justify what you did, trying to get a reason for you to get $66 million, regardless of how much you're making that 1 year or the contract over the life. So a lot of players, when they first sign, they are trying too hard because they're trying to be the $60 million, in this case, $66 million guy. And he just never was the $66 million guy.
You know who else signed a big contract in 2010? Carl Crawford.
Oh, so they replaced Jason Bay with Carl Crawford, thinking they upgraded.
Yes. Yes. It's just delicious. It just keeps getting better.
And if you didn't hear that episode, you can check it out on our SwingBadder station there. Dad, final thoughts here for good old Jason Bay.
Well, yeah, I was looking this up. Jason Bay was 31 years old, basically, when he signed with the Mets. So he had to know that his 20s had ended, and he probably had, realistically, 3 to 5 more good years. So you grab the money when you can, and I have no doubt that Jason Bay tried very hard. His injury didn't help, but the pressure of playing New York is just a tremendous statistical fallout. So in terms of the New York fans, this guy was a bad deal. He never came close to what he had done in Boston or Pittsburgh.
As a Met fan, I have fond memories of Jason Bay, but it was all fond memories of just hoping that he would have been better than he was, and kind of sad at the injuries that stopped his career. But he's a good player. Cut short by injury.
And that's the beauty of what we cover here with SwingBadder and these contracts. What you just said, we have a lot of hope when we sign these players, our teams, our future. There's so many signings that happen, and now they're even bigger than ever. Now that we're in this wonderful 2024 season, the baseball contracts are just getting larger and larger and larger. And it fills us with so much hope because we're like, we're finally there. We have spent the money. We're going to make it. And then when it all falls apart, or when the train falls off the tracks, the best part about watching this on SwingBadder is we get to cover that train as every single cart falls miraculously over a cliff, one after another, after another, after another. And that's why we're here to cover this. Jason Bay, I do blame Jason Bay. I know you say the Mets fans and this and that. Jason Bay wasn't a $66 million. He took the money and he ran. God bless you. Congratulations, but you never performed the way you should have. Last thought, Dad?
Yeah, I have a word about inflation. You know, I think $66 million, that's not very much. The day we're making this is just a couple days after Cody Bellinger, a highly desired free agent, signed a contract for $80 million. 66, 10 years ago? $66 million was a lot of money. Okay, it's not a billion like Ohtani, but it was a lot of money. The Mets were banking on some great results that never even got close.
Yep.
And that's it. That's our show for today. Jason Bay is the true winner. Thanks for being a part of this. Don't forget to like and subscribe SwingBadder, where we give you more of these delicious contracts that I say the player ultimately did win financially, and you, the fan, lost because you put a lot of hope and a lot of dreams into a bad contract. I'm your host, Brendan. That is my dad. That is my brother, Todd. Thanks so much for joining. Bye now.